Welcome everybody to another episode of Into the Stratusphere. I'm your girl Cindy G. How's everybody doing? I'm doing really well, you guys. Just recording it on a Saturday night, but wanted to take this time to wish everybody a very happy Easter or any celebration that you guys are celebrating. So happy Easter and happy wrestling week. It is going to be a very big week in the world of wrestling, mainly from WWE, of course, with like everything that's been going on within the week. And then, of course, AEW Dynamite is officially has the Wednesday night slot on their own. Impact Wrestling is now on a Thursday. And then GCW is having their GCW, the collective, from Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then Impact Wrestling have their Impact Plus exclusive Hardcore Justice. So a lot is going to be happening in the world of wrestling this week. So it's going to be a lot to digest. But as I mentioned it, before, I'm going to say it again. When it comes to the Big Four pay-per-view for WWE, there's not going to be no new episode Into the Stratusphere. So that way that Philip and Brandon will be heavily focused on the WWE content for the Bullet Cast. So therefore, Into the Stratusphere's new episode for next week, it's not going to be happening. I will be back in 2 weeks. So expect a lot of recaps, especially from Impact Wrestling, because Hardcore Justice. And then that's going to be the kickoff to On the Road of Impact Wrestling's big pay-per-view, Rebellion. So, yeah, you guys, this is going to be a major week, but hey, I do need the week off, you guys. I've been working 6 days straight overtime. Your girl is exhausted, but hey, I'm here for it. So, yeah. Anyway, you guys, so typical wrestling news headline, recap for NWA Powerrr, also recap for Impact Wrestling, and then an AEW Dynamite bonus, including what I have to say about AEW Faction, especially the tweet that actually made it trendy not too long ago since I put that tweet out. So I gotta clarify that. And also, this is going to be the early prediction for the Impact Plus special Hardcore Justice. So hope you guys got your beverage, your snack, or whichever you're at. Because let's get this party started. This is episode 32, 1000 match and counting. That is right. This name of the episode is dedicated to, of course, the Cowboy, James Storm, who recently had his 1000 match on the last episode of Impact Wrestling, which we're going to be getting to that later on, you guys. So anyway, let's go ahead and kick things off with the wrestling news headline. Even though this is going to be one of the major wrestling news headlines that has been circulating recently since Friday, April 2nd. Even though this is a little bit of WWE, but then it's involving another wrestler in another different wrestling company. So WWE just announced that Steve Austin Broken Skull Session will have their next interviewee, a person that they're going to interview, none other than the Demo God himself, AEW star Chris Jericho. That is right. Chris Jericho is going to be interviewed by Steve Austin on Sunday, April 11th at the Broken Skull Session, only on Peacock here in the USA, but for internationally, WWE Network. So this is really major, you guys. So what came about is that Chris Jericho did reach out to Steve Austin after he complimented Steve for his interview with The Undertaker, and pretty much that they both came into agreement that Steve Austin can interview Chris. So Steve actually did ask Vince McMahon. He's like, sure, go ahead. That's it. So this is what transpired to have the interview going on. So according to what Steve Austin said on SI.com for how it came about too. So this is pretty major, you guys. The thing about it is, you guys, is this is not like a freaking forbidden door, you guys. It's just like a regular interview that Steve Austin is conducting on his own podcast, even though that podcast is under WWE wing. But then again, it's like, what there's going to be talking about? Like, a lot of curiosity that's going to be happening that's going to take place, like, what Steve Austin's going to ask Jericho about. Like, are they going to bring anything about AEW or Chris Jericho's decision to leave WWE, join AEW, anything impossible, you guys. I'm very curious to know, like, that. I think they're just gonna talk a little bit about AEW, but not too much. But he's just gonna talk to Jericho about, like, his career, since Jericho has been in the business for so many years, and with his accolades, especially, like, not wrestling, besides wrestling in AEW, but also with New Japan Pro Wrestling and a different accolade too. So I feel that it's just going to be more about Jericho's career and a little bit about his personal life than talking into, like, necessarily about AEW itself. But hey, we'll see what's going to be happening next once the Broken Skull session will be airing on April 11th, you guys. And of course, I will be tuning in for that. So yeah, looking forward to it. And I think that's going to be kind of like a little bit of a brief recap too, like when I come back from my vacation. Alright, you guys, so enough about that. Now, the next wrestling news headline, which is going to be a little bit of the event that's taking place, as I mentioned it, for this weekend of wrestling. So, Game Changer Wrestling present the Collective Remix! That's right. They're actually going to be taking place at the Cuban Club in Tampa, Florida, of course. And the event will run from Thursday, April 8th, all the way to Saturday, April 10th, you guys. So you guys can definitely watch it on Fight TV. And here are the names of the events. So on Thursday, April 8th, you'll have is the Jimmy Lloyd D-Generation F, then the Asa Cup Day 1, then the Josh Barnett Bloodsport 6, then the For the Culture. Friday, April 9th, you'll have is Alley Cat's Real Hot Girl SHIT, then the ASAP Cup Day 2. So pretty much it is going to be a ASAP Cup tournament. And then you'll have is the RSP Spring Break, formerly known as Joey Janela's Spring Break. I hate the 44OH. And then you have his Violence plus Suffering. And then Saturday, April 10th, you'll have is Effie's Get Big A Brunch. And then you'll have his Planet Death. And then after that, you'll have his Unsanctioned Pro. And last of the event will be the No Peace Underground as well. So I'm definitely going to be watching some of the event, but it's going to be on demand because, of course, your girl has to work. However, I'm definitely going to be watching one of the events that's going to be on live time. So pretty much, of course, on Thursday, I'm definitely going to be watching For the Culture, of course. And it looks like For the Culture, because the Josh Barnett Bloodsport is actually going to be on airing the same time as Impact Wrestling's debut time slot, of course. But I'm definitely going to be watching it on demand during WrestleMania. Yeah, I know. Because as someone that doesn't watch WWE, at least I'll have more free time to watch some of the events. So I'm going to be watching For the Culture. On Friday, I'll totally will be watching the Violin Times Suffering. And then on Saturday, I'll definitely go be watching the No Peace Underground as well. But then, like, for the event, I'll be watching it and possibly go be covering. I'll definitely will be watching the Alley Cat Real Hot Girl SHIT and the FU Big A Brunch as well. And then other events too, depends on it. Which, by the way, I'll definitely will give you guys my overall thoughts of the event and which show I did watch that I can give you guys providing the results and my overall thoughts. Just like with the past GCW Big event, I'll give you guys a quick breakdown of like what I thought of the event as well as the results that only the event that I actually watched and purchased with my own hard money as well. And speaking of which, like one of the big events I think that's going to be important, of course, For the Culture is also very important. Also the RSP break as well. and the FBK branch, but one of them is actually going to be the Alley Cat Real Hot Girl SHIT. Especially this particular Battle Royal called the Gray Sweatpants Battle Royal, which it actually runs and booked by the lovely Faye Jackson, of course, which all proceed for the Gray Sweatpants Battle Royal halfway will go towards Planned Parenthood, which is very amazing what Faye is doing to help contributing for the event. And also another half of the donation will go towards the talent that's participating in the Gray Sweatpants Battle Royal, and I think also the Alley Cat Hot Girl SHIT. However, with a unfortunate news, you guys. So Faye Jackson did took to Twitter on Friday and announced that she suffered a severe injury, that she dislocated her elbow during a match last 2 Sundays ago. I think it was last Sundays. Yeah, last Sundays. And so unfortunately she had to be pulled of all the bookings, and including the match that she was supposed to be taking place against Allison Kay for the Alley Cat Real Hot Girl SHIT as well. But she'll definitely be there. However, after the GCW Collective Remix event, she's actually going to be officially retiring from wrestling for good. She says she is stepping away from wrestling for good. So yeah, you guys, this is really sad to say at least. When I found out about the announcement, I was very heartbroken, and because I've been following up with Faye's career since when I started watching wrestling again, in the early 2010s. And the first thing I know about Faye Jackson is she was in Ring of Honor, of course, and she made it big in the indies as well. I mean, I'm very glad that Faye did come to the Bay Area, and she had a match against Thunder Rosa at one of the West Coast Pro Wrestling event back in December of 2019. And, it's been an honor and privilege of meeting Faye Jackson. She's one of the nicest person I ever met. Very down to earth, of course. And yeah, your girl got a lap dance from Faye during her entrance, right after one of my acquaintances did receive a lap dance, which it actually went on viral on Twitter. Oh my god. Check out my YouTube channel, Adventures in Wrestling by Cindy G. Go to one of my West Coast Pro vlogs, and you'll see in real time. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh, good memories though. But yeah, rest aside, yeah. I mean, it's really unfortunate that with this particular injury that actually took a toll on someone's career and more passion in what they gotta do. And unfortunately, the main thing is health and safety matters, especially for your own body. So I'm glad that Faye is taking the proper precautions she needs to heal herself up and making sure what's gonna be happening in the long run too. But it's really unfortunate that she's actually gonna be retiring from the in-ring competition. So pretty much the Alley Cat show on Friday, it's going to be one hell of a celebration for Faye's farewell to wrestling altogether, So, Faye, if you're listening to it, hopefully, myself, along with the rest of the Bullet cast, and also the Bay Area independent wrestling scene, and also wrestling as well, we wish you nothing but the best of luck, and wishing you a very happy retirement. And want to say thank you, Faye, for everything, bringing a whole life in the world of wrestling, bringing your big personality and your outgoing, spirits and everything alike. So, thank you, Faye Jackson. We will miss you. Anyway, you guys, enough about that. Now, let's go ahead and go to the next wrestling news headline. March 30th. New Japan Pro Wrestling, during the New Japan, the road to the Sakura Genesis, they just revealed the the Unified IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Let me go ahead and take a quick sip of water. You know what that means? I have a lot to say. They reveal the title. At first, I thought the title looks fresh. I like it at first of all, but then when I look closely, I was like, that title kind of reminds me of something that I saw in WWE. Man, social media was not having it, you guys. Like, the majority of the people that sent out a tweet, they were having a huge mixed feelings and banter about this title. Like, that title, I get it. Like, they're kind of bringing back, like, you know, the past, like, IWGP heavyweight titles. Like, the different title design. Like, kind of reminds of the second title design. Y'all, that title looks like the alpha version of the WWE Divas title. And also Cody's neck tattoo combined. Not just the Nightmare family like logo symbol, but like the tattoo itself. It's like, this is like kind of like the poorest move that New Japan Pro Wrestling ever done, and they definitely did drop the ball yet again as well. Like, I don't know what is going on with New Japan Pro Wrestling ever since that Hiro Meiji did step down. And I think, I have a feeling, you guys, it's not just the president, but it's, of course, the chairman of Bushiroad too has something to say about it. Has got to do with it too. But I understand, like, they're trying to, like, bring some of the meaning of the like, what that title design is. Honestly, I just don't care about, like, the little bit of history of the title of it. It's so bad. Like, why? It looks so generic as hell, and it looks so WWE-ish. That's all I'm seeing. However, someone did point out saying that title looks like Jeff Hardy's TNA title without the purple strap. So I kind of, like, freaking laughed my A off so much. And then there's, like, so many memes. And one of the memes is Cody Rhodes neck tattoo. Let's have a baby. WWE Divas title. Yeah, let's do it. I love you. 9 months later, the IWGP World Heavyweight title. Yeah, like, you kind of, like, I know they're giving crap about that title design, as well as, like, you know, how New Japan Pro Wrestling made, like, a horrible mistake and horrible decision to unify the IWGP Heavyweight and the Intercontinental Champion, because, like, now is that there's not going to be any title opportunity whatsoever. Of course, you have now the Never Openweight. You consider it as a mid-card, but it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, the Intercontinental Champion, I get it. It was like 10, it's like, it debuted like 10 years ago, of course, and you're trying to freaking erase history. I went on a huge rant on it on Instagram Live, and, I'm not having it whatsoever. Like I said, New Japan Pro Wrestling freaking dropped the ball big time, and the belt design, yet again, they freaking dropped the ball. However, they also dropped the ball of what I'm going to say about a certain title again. So, on April 2nd during New Japan Strong, so they actually made the announcement that the winners are not going to be competing for the IWGP United States Champion. Which to me is like, what in the hell? So you're going to have Moxley hold the title and held hostage? Doesn't make sense. But instead, they're going to debut the New Japan Strong Openweight title. They reveal the title, and which it looks so much better than the Alpha WWE Divas version title of the IWGP World Heavyweight title, you guys. And I'm happy about it, but then at the same time, it's like, okay, what's going to be happening with the IWGP United States Champion? Like, it doesn't even make sense whatsoever. What is the whole logic of New Japan Pro Wrestling is doing? So, You're trying to erase, like, a United States title that was supposed to be, like, one of the, you could say one of the mid-card title, but yet you have someone who is currently in AEW still holding hostage of it, and now you decided to create a title. I don't know. It's so confusing, more mind-boggling. I even have a conversation with Philip, and honey, to quote Lovey T, Philip is not having it. You saw, like, the Instagram post on the Bulletcast Instagram page. Yeah, Philip is not having it because, you know, he's not a huge fan of having, like, more than 5 titles, of course, especially, you say, New Japan Pro Wrestling's doing too much. Yeah, even though WWE has, like, a crap ton of titles, but New Japan Pro Wrestling, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. If you want to include the King of Pro Wrestling 2021 trophy or whatever. But I digress. We'll say 8 for, like, the hell of it. 2. Like, New Japan has 8 titles. And I understand why, because of the different class they have. The different world class, and also, like, the meaning of, like, each of the titles. Especially, like, the Never title, of course. Which it actually did help to make sure that everybody gets the opportunity as what they needed, too. And especially when it comes to the junior heavyweights, because it's based on different weight class, and by how, like, New Japan Pro Wrestling is carrying on to, like, each of the wrestlers, like, you know, based on, like, the history and the lineage of as well, you know. I know Philip is going to be disagreeing about, you know, the reason about, like, why New Japan Pro Wrestling has that many titles, you know. I understand where New Japan Pro Wrestling coming from. And, you know, and Philip, if you want to go on a debate, we could definitely do a debate about, you know, New Japan Pro Wrestling has too many titles debate or whatever you call it. We'll do it maybe on one day, either on Into the Stratosphere or maybe on a special episode of the Bulletcast as well. And maybe we'll have Brandon or Baby Huey as the moderator or whatever, because, like, I have no issues with New Japan Pro Wrestling having too many titles, but WWE has a crap ton of titles. Like, come on now. So, yeah. So, backtracking to it, I'm assuming that, like, with the IWGP United States title, we might gonna be seeing Moxley again with that title one day on New Japan Strong, or maybe he'll bring it on AEW Dynamite. And then they're probably going to use that title as one of, like, the USA heavyweight version. And then the New Japan Strong openweight title, which I'm glad it's just open to all weight classes. They're probably going to be using it as, like, a second tier title, or maybe, like, a mid-card title, you know, but we'll wait and see. I know they're going to be kicking off with the New Japan Cup United States tournament this week, you guys. So I'm very excited for that. And honestly, I'm gonna stand by my pick. I'm definitely gonna pick Tom Lawler to be the winner and become the inaugural New Japan Strong Champion, openweight champion. But some people say it's gonna be Lio Rush just because of his accolade and his dedication with the company as well. But either way, we'll see what's gonna be happening next. Alright, you guys. So, enough of this wrestling news headline and my rebuttal regarding this freaking New Japan Pro Wrestling dropping the ball big time when it comes to the title design, to the new title situation. Let's go ahead and go with the recap for NWA Powerrr that just took place on Tuesday, March 30th, you guys. So, you have is the opening promo of Nick Aldis being interviewed by Kyle Davis, as Kyle explained to Nick regarding the main event match that happened last week, that Nick and which Strictly Business and Chris, Master of the Full Nelson, Adonis, did pick up the victory over the team of Aaron Stevens, Kratos, and Trevor Murdoch. Not Trevor Murdoch. Who else is in that tag? I keep forgetting sometime. Let me check my notes real quick. Let's see. Yeah, because, let's see. Oh, and the Pope, sorry. It was the Pope, Kratos, and Aaron Stevens that lost the match last week, you guys. So, Nick was happy that he definitely got the big W, that it needs it on his accolade as well. And also he did clarify regarding the question, is Chris Adonis strictly business, because joining being strictly business is complicated. Right when he was trying to explain, out comes Trevor Murdoch coming back after being out for a week since he got attacked by Chris Adonis during the Back for the Attack pay-per-view. So Trevor did call him out and say that he did miss a week's pay because of what Chris Adonis did to put into a master lock. And Nick Aldis saying he doesn't like anyone to tell him what to do, and you're in his show. However, the only thing they had in common is they've both been trained by Harley Race, of course, and they show admiration. Right when Nick Aldis told him, rule number 1, never turn your back on your opponent, and of course, that's when Chris Adonis blindsided Trevor Murdoch and attacked the crap out of him until a couple of the referees did trying to pull him apart. So it was pretty much a good opening promo segment for Nick Aldis, and I'm glad that he did explain the logistics side of being strictly business, especially who is Chris Adonis is to him and Tom Lattimore, of course. I just feel that because of Royce Isaac is no longer with NWA, I feel that they should added more members to benefit it too, because the only members they have besides Nick and Tom is Camille, and that's it. So having a 4-person, mainly a male, will help carry on with that faction itself too. And more title opportunity alike. So anyway, afterwards you have is May backstage, May Valentine interviewing Aaron Stevens and Kratos, talking about their losses from last week's main event. Even though Kratos is not happy about this, and there has been tension going up between Kratos and Aaron Stevens, Aaron did try his best to clarify and taking the own accountability regarding with the loss. However, out comes May Valentine's best friends forever, Sal Ronaldo, as he wanted to challenge Aaron Stevens for the NWA Tag Team Champion. However, Kratos didn't say anything. He's just mean-mugged as always, of course. And so, Aaron, being a good person he is now, because, he is now babyface, he just smiles to Sal and he say, I gladly accept it. So the match is happening next week's episode of NWA Powerrr, and I'm curious to know who's going to be Sal Ronaldo's tag team partner. And I'm curious to know, is May Valentine's going to be valeting Sal and a tag team partner? There is so much question and so much theory, who's going to be Sal's tag team partner for it. It's I don't know. And who else is going to be in NWA too? Is this someone that we saw from Ring of Honor, maybe New Japan, maybe, I don't know, AEW or Impact? So many theories alike, but hey, I'm here for it. I won't be surprised if Sal's tag team partner would be Levi Shapiro. Then I'll mark out. But hey, it's just my wishful thinking. But I'm curious, But yeah. Anyway, you guys, then you have the first match of the show. You have Slice Boogie defeated Jeremiah Plunkett in pretty much a short but solid match. I'm very impressed with Jeremiah's moveset, especially with that impressive elbow drop to Slice, though. That's kind of pretty much a brutal, heavy-hitting elbow drop I've ever seen in quite a while. So a lot of back and forth going on, and then Slice Boogie, trash talking as usual. Jeremiah showing his big dedication is. And unfortunately, Slice Boogie did pick up the victory with the package pile driver known as the Dead-Ass Driver. It was an alright match, especially Slice Boogie, being a heel as he is too. But hey, we'll be seeing more of him. Yawn. I'm kind of not a fan of Slice Boogie, though, ever since his debut on West Coast Pro, like back in September 2019, but it's whatever. Then you have, prior to the match, you have is Austin Idol coming out and joining commentary after he kicked out Velvet Sky, just to make sure that, you know, she's not in danger in harm's way. Which, honestly, I'm happy that Velvet Sky is not doing commentary for the rest of the show as well. I mean, I do respect Velvet Sky. I know she's trying her best for it too, and especially like her commentary side. I think like something has been going on with her lately. I know last week I was kind of like pretty criticized about her commentary status, that I feel like it just needed a little bit more personality. But when I can hear her voice, I feel like something has been a little bit off, that something's wrong with her, you know. But whatever it is, hopefully we'll be seeing her more on next week's episode of NWA Powerrr, or regardless, a bit too. But yeah. But anyway, so you have is Tyrus defeated Matthew Mims, which is like a pretty much a solid house fight of a match. But hey, Tyrus did the Great American Slap to pick up the victory. Not much to say, of course. Hey, it's Tyrus. Y'all know what's up. But yeah. Then afterwards, we were supposed to be having a main event match between the Pope versus Fred Rosser for the NWA Television Champion. But unfortunately, they made the announcement during the commercial promo that that match is going to be moving to next week, because the main event match is Trevor Murdoch versus Chris Adonis for the NWA National Television Champion in a no DQ match. So afterwards of that announcement of the promo, then cut to the Pope and Fred Rosser. Each of them cut a promo where Fred Rosser said that he will definitely kick his butt and show him that he has no days off. It is too. And of course, the Pope cutting a really impressive promo as it is too. He gave Fred Rosser praises, but then he showed more of the accolade of, you know, what it means to be a television champion. The Pope still got it, you guys. I freaking love his in-ring promo. Like, something about it kind of like draws together for it. But hey, I'm looking forward to his match next week. Then you have a tag team match between Thunder Rosa and Alex Gracia versus Sky Blue and Genocide. You guys remember Genocide from AEW Dark a couple months ago, even though on the next episode in AEW Dark, they changed her name from Genocide to the Bionic Beast Jenna. I think it's because of the ending of her name, Side, kind of like reference to, you know, suicide, you know, but oh well. And that match was pretty awesome. I'm very impressed with Sky's Blue in ring work, even though that she doesn't even shut her mouth while she was like locking arms against Alex Gracia. However, who's on commentary? None other than Melina, which, hey, Melina did a pretty alright job being on commentary. At least, like, I do enjoy it, you know, a little bit more than Velvet Sky's commentary, though. But I know that she's been talking about Thunder Rosa a lot during the match as well. So these ladies did a very impressive job. But the only thing is Genocide and Thunder Rosa scoring up against each other was the icing on cake. Like, holy crap. Right when Thunder Rosa was continuing on to attack Genocide, then you saw outside of the ring that Sky Blue did attack Alex Gracia outside of the ring, make her knocked down cold. And right when Thunder Rosa was about to do the double knee to the ring post, out comes Camille giving Thunder Rosa the spear, and thus the match ends in a no DQ. Right when Camille continued to attack her, here out comes Melina trying to make a save. Well, she did not come into the ring, but, you know, she was outside of the ring trying to pull Thunder Rosa. And Melina and Camille did both have words of exchange, of course. However, right behind Camille, Genocide was standing up, and thanks to the crowd was screaming, "Jenna's gonna kill you," which kind of ruins a little bit of the surprise. Camille turns, and of course, it ends with Camille and Genocide having a stare down. I was like, oh my god, I'm so ready for this match. And of course, this match might happen on the next episode of NWA Powerrr. Hey, I'm for it. Like, both of the ruthless, badass female wrestlers will be facing up against each other. I am so loving it. But the match itself is really much a good showcasing match. I love it. Anyway, afterwards, then you have the main event match, which is the NWA National Championship match in a no DQ match between the champ Trevor Murdoch versus Chris, Master of the Full Nelson, Adonis. The match started out with both guys starting to brutally brawl each other. However, you saw that Trevor Murdoch wore a neck brace because, of course, he got attacked by Chris Adonis, like, earlier in the episode. They were both brawling mostly outside the ring, like, everywhere they go until both the guys came in. However, Chris Adonis took the best for continue on to attack Trevor Murdoch until he applied the master lock in y'all. When he applied the master lock, that's where Trevor Murdoch did not tap and he was out. And of course, you have is your new NWA National Champion, Chris, Master of the Full Nelson, Adonis. Oh my lord. And by the way, Nick Aldis was on commentary too, so digress on that. Yeah, I was completely shocked that Chris Adonis did defeat Trevor Murdoch, even though he attacked him early in the episode. It's like, I honestly wish that Trevor Murdoch should have held that title a little bit longer and then have Chris Master winning it instead of like, oh, rematch. There you go, new champ. It kind of sets like a little bit of an overkill when it comes to like lineage of the title of it, especially one of the prestigious title like too. So it is what it is. And then afterwards, once Chris Adonis did pick up the victory, out comes Strictly Business as Nick Aldis, coming off from commentary, did congratulate him. And of course, it did confirm that Chris Adonis is Strictly Business, which I was a little bit confused. So is he a new fourth person of Strictly Business, or he's just still an associate? It's just kind of like raising this question as well. But hey, I don't mind Chris Adonis being the new fourth member of Chris Strictly Business. I think that's going to be helping him to rebuttal his career, like especially making a huge comeback. When I told some of my friends about like, oh, Chris Masters is the new NWA National Champion and stuff, they were completely surprised too. I was like, yeah, very shocked. And it's like, he hasn't wrestled in like so many years. Like, yeah, I know. And he won the title, which he still got, and he still used the master lock too. I wasn't even happy at first, but then at the same time, it's kind of like a good comeback to his career itself. So, congratulations, Chris Adonis, for becoming the new NWA National Champion. I know that everybody is giving high praises, especially you made a huge comeback for your wrestling career. Hats off to you as well. Overall, the episode of NWA Powerrr was pretty solid, even though the only match I really enjoyed the most was the women's tag team match. It has like more of a high caliber ability to it, especially getting to know more of the female wrestler, which I'm supposedly enough, they're officially part of NWA roster, especially Alex Gracia too, since she also wrestled in AEW Dark. Of course, I mean, the Forbidden Door is still there. I mean, you still have Fred Rosser wrestle in New Japan Pro Wrestling US of A, and so is Jordan Clearwater. A lot of endless possibility, y'all. So, yeah. For my grade of this, and especially the ending of the main event match, and especially the promos was amazing. I'm gonna give this show a solid B+. I just wish that they should just give a little bit of a cut time to one of the matches itself. And I feel like it just needed more like a storyline in depth when it comes to the Strictly Business, and then about the whole Melina situation and Thunder Rosa too. But anyway, guys, that is it for the recap for NWA Powerrr. Now let's go to Impact Wrestling. That's right, their last episode on a Tuesday night slot for Tuesday, March 30th, before they're moving to Thursday night, or should I say moving back. So, for your pre-show before the Impact, you have is, let's see, let me go ahead and look at my notes. Let's see. The team of Rohit Raju and Hernandez defeated the team of Falaba and Shira. It's pretty much a typical tag team match, even though Falaba is the one that took more of the beating from Hernandez and Raju, of course. And Shira, holy crap, Shira still got his impressive moveset, especially, his sidewalk slam to Rohit Raju as well. And let's just talk about the dive that Hernandez did give to Falaba too. However, Shira was about to do the dive, but then he got hit by a chair from Hernandez, and that's where Rohit Raju took the Mumbai drive-by and pick up the victory as well. So it's just your solid tag team match, not much to say. And now let's go ahead and go to the main card as well. So, Fire and Flava defeated the team of Havoc and Nevaeh in a non-title match. And it was pretty much your solid tag team match altogether. It's just mostly more of Havoc taking more of a control to both Kiera Hogan and to Tasha Steelz as well. And then she did tag in Nevaeh. And, of course, both ladies did do the double team move to Kiera for a 2 count. And, of course, Fire and Flava took mostly the control of Havoc until she got blind tagged by Nevaeh. Nevaeh, when she was, attacking Tasha. Of course, Tasha with that beautiful suplex. That German suplex she gave is very impressive. But, of course, Havoc did blind tag Nevaeh back in the ring. And, of course, Havoc was trying to do the sit-down power fall for a near fall, but then she got attacked by Tasha as well. And unfortunately, at the end, Kiera Hogan did apply the Face the Music, followed by Tasha Steelz with the Frog Splash, and that's how Fire and Flava did pick up the victory. Afterwards, Havoc and Nevaeh Havoc was trying to apologize so much to a very frustrated Nevaeh. Nevaeh forgive her, and they both kind of give some sort of a headbutt hug or whatever, until Nevaeh turned away, and that's where Havoc turned heel and attacked the crap out of Havoc, of course, calling her the weakest link. That's right, you guys. Nevaeh has gone heel, and I think that is a perfect way to separate Havoc and Nevaeh. I mean, they did a good job as a tag team, but their win-loss records is not that impressive. They took so many L's. I think it's best both ladies need to go on their separate ways, especially going to a different title opportunity as well, too. So, which we're going to be getting to that later on about it as well. And then afterwards, you have a backstage interview where Jim Miller interviewed James Storm talking about his main event match, which is his 1000th match against Eric Young. So James Storm did give a little bit of a backstory of his time with Impact Wrestling, during the olden days of TNA Wrestling, especially being part of a tag team called America's Most Wanted with Chris Harris, and how the late Bob Ryder decided to sign him, and always being a big supporter to him too. So he dedicated this main event match to Bob Ryder, and then he did call out Eric Young, saying that he need to bring it no matter what, and to bring his friends, of course, if Violin by his side, as he's gonna bring his friends, which out comes Jake Something and Chris Sabian. However, Chris and Jake has something for James Storm as a surprise in honor of his 1000 match. Out comes his old tag team partner, Chris Harris. That's right. America's Most Wanted is reunited for only one night. As you guys know about like the complication health problems that Chris Harris has been suffering in the past, of course, but I'm glad he's back and he still looks good till this day too, you know. So they both embrace, and definitely he's gonna be by James's corner during the main event match. So that makes me so happy altogether. And then after the commercial break, you have a backstage interview with Deonna Purrazzo and Susan, as they were talking about the explanation about beating up Jazz, and Deonna said that she is unstoppable, but then Susan interrupted and say it's atrocious and Jazz deserved what she got. And of course, until Jazz started to brutally attack Susan as Deonna ran away, which Susan fortunately got laid down and Jazz walked away as well. And then you got is in another match, of course, Sami Callihan defeated Larry D with a package power driver. It's a pretty much a solid match. First of all, Larry D's ring gear, the lime green, kind of reminds me of Skittles. I think it's because of the color of his ring gear, of course, trying to improve. But I kind of noticed that Larry D's kind of like getting fit as of late too. Like, I'm very surprised that Triple XL is taking it seriously when it comes to like maintaining themselves. I know, like I talked in the past about AC Romero did actually have like a huge successful story where he dropped like that much weight and then he felt much better as it needed. And Larry D, of course, he looks so much better as well too. So all in all, the match was pretty impressive. It's just mostly like a back and forth brawl, especially outside of the ring as well. And of course, you saw that Sami Callihan did the Dead Valley Driver, and both guys keep continuing on a couple defensive going on. But then Sami Callihan hit the draping pile driver to pick up the victory as well. Afterwards, AC came in the ring and attacked Sami Callihan right away. And that's where Larry D got up and then still continue on to attack him. And they both leave while Sami laying down but smiled because, you know why? He was expecting Trey Miguel to make a save because he actually made the save to Trey Miguel on the last week's episode of Impact Wrestling. Well, actually almost 2 weeks ago of the episode of Impact Wrestling where like Sami Callihan did save Trey from Triple XL, of course. But we'll get into that in just a moment. Then you show clips from Finji showing off their Impact World Tag Team titles at the New Japan Cup, of course, like highlighting their matches, and of course they had to show Will Ospreay, like freaking why? Digress on it. And then cut to Kenny Omega, Don Callis, and the Good Brothers watching the Finjuice highlight, as Don Callis did have some concern to the Good Brothers since like they lost their tag team titles, but Don gave the words of encouragement to make sure that not to be nervous. But then Kenny has an idea, so he whispered to Don Callis, and then Don whispers to Carl and Doc Gallows, and that was it. I don't know what the whole whispering is about, you guys. Like, come on now. But we'll see about that. And then backstage to Sami Callihan confronting Trey, saying that he needs to talk his anger out and why he didn't make the save as well. As Trey is very reluctant, he just doesn't want to deal with Sami Callihan's mind game, and I can't understand why, because Sami Callihan is a very manipulative person as well. Even though Sami continued on saying he needs to think about it for a week to be his tag team partner, where him and Trey will team up against Triple XL to make it happen. But then he needs an approval from Trey if you want to join or anything like that. So, yeah, this whole storyline with Sami, Callihan, and Trey Miguel is still continuing on. I feel that this particular storyline will be leading up all the way to a speculation. It's so hard for me to pronounce, you guys. You guys know that English is not my first language, but a speculation match at Rebellion. I have a feeling that's going to be happening, but we'll see how time will be progressing within the 2-week period before the big pay-per-view. Anyway, you have is Brian Myers defeated Suicide in a pretty much a short but sweet match. A lot of back and forth going on, especially a lot of high dive from Suicide, and then the rear chin lock from Brian Myers to Suicide before Suicide did the shotgun drop kick. And then, of course, Brian Myers did hit the flatliner into the roster cut to pick up the victory as well. And then afterwards, Brian Myers did cut a promo saying that he heard that Matt Cardona wanted to have a match against him. Unfortunately, Brian Myers did decline the request to have a match against Matt Cardona at Hardcore Justice. Hey, time may change. You never know. And then I cut to backstage where Jazz and Tommy Dreamer did talk as Jazz wanted a match against Deonna Purrazzo. However, Tommy did tell Jazz, remember at ECW we have a double Jeopardy match? So let's make it happen between Jazz and Deonna Purrazzo, which Deonna will put her title on the line. And if Jazz wins, she gets the title. However, Jazz won't need to pick which one she needed to give up on. Jazz decided to put her career on the line. So it's confirmed, you guys. The first match has been announced for Hardcore Justice. It's going to be Deonna Purrazzo versus Jazz it's champion versus career match. If Jazz wins, she becomes the new Impact Knockouts champion. If she lost, then she's no longer with Impact Wrestling for good. I think it's just going to be a perfect fitting because Jazz is continuing on with her retirement tour. Because even though, she's starting to wrestle again, but, just to help more to have her act later. And I think that'll be a perfect way to written off Jazz for the fact that, she's continuing on to, wrestle for, different promotion. I have a feeling we're probably going to be seeing Jazz, in one other promotion. Maybe AEW or maybe NWA. Who knows? Anyway, afterwards, then I don't normally talk about Swingers Palace because it's, an unnecessary talk about. It's just your typical, filler segment, you guys. However, they show Don Callis and Kenny Omega at Swingers Palace as Johnny Swinger and Don Callis did reminisce their time at the old school TNA days. Oh my god, it's so funny. And so Don Callis did show Johnny Swinger and Johnny Bravo and the Swingerellas the one Kenny Omega's One Wing Angel finisher highlight thingy on his phone and asked everyone to press, and that's where Don placed a bet for 20K. 20K. I think it's just for that main event match or something like that. But like I said, I really don't care less about this whole Swinger Palace that. I forgot to mention it before the Swingers Palace segment, the AEW Dynamite commercial where the two Tonys are backstage on AEW Dynamite. Still same promo to promote the episode of AEW Dynamite. However, I just want to point out that Tony Khan's promo for the AEW Dynamite commercial seems a little bit odd because it kind of reminds me of when he cut a promo to Kenny Omega on the debut episode of AEW Dark Elevation. I think he's trying his best to fulfill the TV role since now he's kind of the general manager of AEW. I just feel like Tony Khan needs to just relax with it because he seems so frizzle out with the promo too. But that's just my honest opinion, you guys. Anyway, next up, you have is Ace Austin and Madman Fullerton defeated TJP and Josh Alexander in a tag team match, and it was quite a solid tag team match. A lot of like counter tag team moves of defensive going on. I mean, you have Josh Alexander did the backdrop by Madman Fullerton, and he did a suplex before Madman and Ace did double team Josh Alexander, and then TJP actually saved Josh before him and Josh did double team. However, right when TJP did the detonation kick, followed by the Mamba splash, Mamba splash. Let's see what else. Mamba splash. That's where Josh Alexander did broke the pin, and of course him and TJP got into a very argument until Ace Austin took the advantage and roll up TJP to pick up the victory. So, yeah, you guys, there's a lot of tension going on in the X Division, especially between TJP and Josh Alexander, especially, like, they're tired of Ace Austin being a X Division champion as it is. But, it is what it is, you guys. Like, damn. I think it's like something that's going to be building up. We're probably going to be having kind of like a triple threat match at Rebellion for the X Division title. Maybe adding one more contender. Who knows? Anything can go either way. And then afterwards, then you have backstage to Don Callis talking to Willie Mack as like he kind of like talk about like how he's impressed with Willie Mack during his time with Impact Wrestling. And of course he did show the video highlight of Kenny Omega's One Wing Angel highlight just to kind of like, play my game to Willie Mack until out comes Rich Swann confronting Don Callis as he doesn't want to deal with Don's mind game, and he wanted to slap him if he weren't his boss before Don said he's not his boss for the next 10 minutes before taking off his glasses of the fish sworn off. Rich then goes to hit Don till Kenny Omega attacks him from behind, and then the Good Brothers started to attack Willie Mack while he's trying to save Rich. And then out comes Eddie Edwards as all the guys starting to brawl each other until Kenny Omega, Don Callis, and the Good Brothers did kicked out of backstage, and that's where Rich Swann, Willie Mack, and Eddie Edwards kind of like standing tall too. So it's just a quick way to promote their main event match that's going to be taking place this Thursday, you guys, which I'm super excited for that particular match altogether. And then you have is a video package from Violin by Design as Derek Young did cut a promo talking about James Storm's 1000s match and showing the definition and the meaning of violence and how Rhino is officially a member of Violence by Design by being baptized as well, and showing like a warning to James Storm as well. It's a pretty much a solid video pack. I really enjoy this a lot more, especially how like Violence by Design, I think they're like one of the most ruthless stable in Impact Wrestling, more ruthless than the Elite 2.0, as I call it, for Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. So, anyway, and then cut to backstage as some of the Knockouts roster and Kayla with a K sit down as Tommy Dreamer announced that Jazz is putting her career on the line as Deanna got up and trying to defend that she'll definitely will make sure Jazz is no longer with the company and all that stuff. So Deanna left, but then Tommy calls Susan asking, where is her friend, Sue? And so Susan was saying, I don't know what you're talking about, but you could tell she is triggered a little bit, a sign of a bit of a trigger. See, you guys, when it comes to, spells like that, it's not going to work. So I don't know what's going on with Father James Mitchell, is there any way to reverse Susan to Sue Young? Because I think if you mention about Sue, then she'll transform back. I think that's going to be happening that as well. But anyway, since Susan walked away, Tommy Dreamer announced that there's going to be a multi-woman scramble match at Hardcore Justice, and the winner gets to be the number one contender to face Deonna Purrazzo at Rebellion, you guys. So some of the knockouts are very happy about it. Some are not too pleased about it, like Tennille Dashwood, for example. Havoc is very thrilled about it. Rosemary, just being Rosemary in part of the member of the Decay. And, of course, Alicia Edwards. I think she did not pay attention fully. And she said, what is it again? What? So, I'm going to get into, who is the participant. And for my pick for the 6-way weapons match for the number one contenders for the contenders match for the Impact Knockouts title. That I'm excited. Now let's go ahead and go to the main event match that it was very impressive. Of course, James Storm with Chris Sabian, Jake Something, and Chris Harris versus Eric Young with Violin by Design. It was a slow start, but then again, typical lockout before EY did shove James Storm and then dropping him with the back elbow. So a lot back and forth going on. There's a little bit of a brawl outside of the ring too. A lot of more of a clean, some technical moveset, mainly from Eric Young as well. I just feel like this is a textbook story of how James Storm got his career started, and especially the interaction with EY too, since they both have history being with the company with so many years, on and off too. So James Storm came with a jawbreaker into the inverted atomic jaw, and it ends in Guri before a 2 count. Then James hit the neck breaker for another 2 before hitting the Eye of the Storm for a near fall, before Eric Young hit the jumping neck breaker into the elbow drop for a 2 count. Then EY exchanged strike to James Storm until James hit a backstage stabber for a near fall that, of course, Diener did broke up by jumping on the apron. That's where all 6 men started to beat the holy crap out of each other. And of course, that's where EY was about to do something, but then he got stopped by Chris Harris. Chris Harris deliver a brutal punch to EY and then toss him back to the ring. And that's where James Storm hit the last call. And y'all, James Storm defeated EY on his 1,000 match. That was a very impressive main event match, especially with James Storm's career alike. I was very blown away together. It's not the best, not the worst, but it's very much a more to his career and his accolade too, and especially his impressive movesets from the Cowboy. And he still got it, you guys. Wow. All in all, this episode of Impact Wrestling was pretty solid. I know they started to build up for Hardcore Justice, especially we haven't even confirmed of the match between Matt Cardona and Brian Meyer. Only 2 matches has been announced, especially storyline has been developed. And, of course, the whole Kenny Omega situation, too. So, you guys, I'm going to be giving Impact Wrestling, just a B+ as well. It was a pretty solid episode. The Knockouts match was solid, a tag team match-wise. And then Nevaeh turning on Havoc. And then, continuing storyline with Trey Miguel and Sami Callihan going on. And, of course, having Triple XL getting involved. And then the storyline progressively between Ace Austin and Josh Alexander and TJP as well. So, it's pretty much a solid episode with more of a storyline development, too. Anyway, you guys, enough about that. Let's go ahead and go to AEW Dynamite bonus. Now, I'm going to be talking about 2 matches right here. One of them is going to be Cody Rhodes versus QT Marshall exhibition match, which you have is Arn Anderson as a special guest referee. The reason why I'm going to talk about it is because of a tweet that I sent out that went, well, you could say trending on Twitter, per se, because of me. Yeah. Anyway, the match was pretty fun. You have is the Nightmare family all in by ringside. Like, you have Gun Club, you have North Calzone, Aaron Stallo, Charlie Brown was there. Who else? Nick Camarado, Anthony Ogogo was there, Dustin Rhodes was there. And it was pretty much a friendly match, but you could tell that QT Marshall was trying to be more competitive as it is to Cody. I like the fact that Cody was trying to, like, no-sell his shoulder injury, even though last episode of Dynamite, he was on the arm sling, but then, of course, he wrestled like nothing happened. But a lot of interference, a lot of back and forth going on, a couple of takedowns from Cody's part, and, of course, you have Cody sends QT out and he holds the ropes. A lot of, like, back and forth, arm drag, nothing too much of it to you. However, QT got back in the ring, and guess what he did? He freaking struck Arn Anderson! And that's where the match ends in a no DQ, and that's where everybody got in the ring, and all of a sudden, QT Marshall students, of course, Aaron Stallo, who else? Nick Camarado. Let's see. Aaron Stallo, QT Marshall. No, it's... I'm trying to figure out who else was part of it. I'm looking over my notes. Nick Camarado, Eric Stallo, and Anthony Ogogo all started to turn heel, and they started to attack everybody in the Nightmare family, too. And then, of course, came down to how they attacked Dustin Rhodes so hard, and then they brutally attacked Cody Rhodes, especially Anthony Ogogo. Well, looks like Anthony Ogogo's no longer going to be in commentary for AEW Dark anymore. Hey, hopefully we'll get Ricky Stark as being a permanent color commentator for AEW Dark, because I enjoy his commentary work than Anthony Ogogo. No offense to him. But yeah, y'all, so these three gentlemen joined QT Marshall and asked what QT was about to strike Cody with the chair. Out comes Red Velvet to persuade them to stop. And that's where they walked away. Now, you guys, that's when I saw the match that it's like, this is another faction that AEW has been brewing. I was not having it because of the fact that AEW has so many factions and groups. It's like it's starting to get more congested. So I sent out a tweet while trying to, like, you know, do the reaction videos and all that. So I sent out a tweet with the list of the faction, and I forgot to put groups because, like, you know, how much I've been busy, like, trying to live tweets. I gotta record the live reaction on Teddy Turnbuckle's YouTube channel. Make sure to follow Teddy Turnbuckle on YouTube and on Twitter. Cheap plugs. And I kind of like having a brain fart, like who else is in the faction / group or whatever as well. But I got the final draft of the list as well from Philip. Thank God for Philip for that. And here are the groups / teams, you guys. And I'm gonna make a clarification in my thought because that list that I created was trending on Twitter. Some of the people copy and paste my tweet, you guys. Like, oh my God, like, I got so many retweets. I think it's because, you know, thanks to, shout out to Aaron Rev. He used the No DQ account to retweet it. My buddy, Steve, the fan, who is the creator of Teddy Turnbuckle, he actually retweeted it as well. And yeah, you guys, we got a lot of, like, conversation talking, and I'm very impressed. Even though some is good, some is bad, I'm glad nobody didn't call me out about it, even though, like, I say, who else did I miss or anything like that, because, like I said, I was so busy with so many things, I was having a huge brain fart. One of the things I kind of miss is Team Taz, and I've got to put 2.0 on the Elite. But here are the lists as a full right now for faction / group. And group by means 3 or more. To me, a faction, 3 or more. You guys want to debate on it? Drop me a DM or comment down below on YouTube. Here are the list of the factions we have from AEW. Inner Circle, The Pinnacle, Nightmare Family, Death Triangle, Jurassic Express, Best Friend, Kip, Mira, and Penelope, Hardy's Family Office, The Dark Order, QT's Crew, and shout out to the Rudos podcast for originally saying QT's Crew, Team Taz, and Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, aka Team Taz 2.0. And someone mentioned Cesar Bernoni, Ryan Needham, and JD Drake and Peter Avalon. Y'all, we're not going to be including anybody that is not signed with AEW or part of AEW Dark. Just wanted to make y'all clarify for that. So, y'all, you have, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 groups / stables. Jesus Christ, AEW, that is like so congestive. Like, I understand that you're trying to fit everybody into a faction to have them like getting more TV time on Dynamite, because like a lot of the fans, I understand how like some of the diehard AEW fans alike that they want to see their favorites more involved on Dynamite, and then some like on Dark or Dark Elevation as well. But having these factions is way too much. Like, it started becoming overkill. Like, that it has been spark of a lot of conversations and a lot of debate going on that, like, AEW is making, like, a similar mistake to what WCW is doing when it comes to having too much groups and factions alike, too. New Japan Pro Wrestling. Let's see. They have LIJ, Chaos, Suzuki-gun, United Empire, Bullet Club, and let's add one more. Team Filthy from New Japan Pro Wrestling America. That's 6. NWA has Strictly Business. That's 1. I'm not going to include Ring of Honor because I don't watch the product nor MLW, and of course I don't watch WWE. Impact Wrestling, they have 3. They have Violin by Design. They have Deonna Purrazzo, Kimberly, and Susan. And I guess you could include freaking, who else? Oh, Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, aka the Elite 2.0 as well. These are the only factions they have for Impact. Like, I just feel like it's starting to get over congested, as that's just turning off the fan big time. I mean, hell, WWE, they got crap ton of titles, you know? That's too much. AEW, too many factions. What are the irony of that, you guys? And don't get me go there about New Japan Pro Wrestling's title as well. Again, Philip, if you want to debate about the New Japan title, if it's overly congested or anything like that, digress. But anyway, I saw someone suggested on Twitter saying that AEW need to have like a special or a next pay-per-view called Gang War, where each of the faction and groups get to compete with one another and have like a tournament type or a match where the loser has to deform the faction for good, or have kind of like more of a debut of a trio title. I think that's like a very good idea, because if AEW has many factions, then why not have like a trios champion, which is going to be like what? Let's see. World Heavyweight Champion, the Women's Tag, TNT. You could include. That's going to be like their 6th title. Oh, of course, Philip is not going to be happy about like AEW is going to have more titles, of course, because he's not a fan of having more than 5 titles. Whatever. But it would be a brilliant idea to do that, so that way they could just like, you know, decrease the amount of factions they have too. And it's going to be being more of an overplay too. So, I mean, I do watch AEW and I love AEW, but having too much of a faction is way too much, y'all. That's all I can say. Alright, you guys, and then we'll go to the match itself. So you have is, of course, let's see, popping up. So you have is the Elite 2.0, as I call it. Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers defeated the team of Jon Moxley and... No, not Jon Moxley, sorry. The Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid. So it's kind of like pretty much a good 6-man tag team match, of course. Like a lot of hot tag going on from Omega, and also from Doc Gallows. Like, Laredo Kid, they actually dodge out of Kenny Omega's One-Wing Angel multiple times. However, I forgot to point it out, Don Callis was holding Kenny Omega's, not his AEW World Heavyweight title, but also his AAA Mega Championship title, because, of course, just to tease Laredo Kid, since Kenny did defeat a Laredo Kid for that title, of course. And so a lot of high tag going on, a lot of high-flying action, and especially, like, Pentagon did the 2 switchblades to Omega. Ray Phoenix did deliver the high senton to Carl Anderson. The Good Brothers did try to go for the Magic Killer, but it is broken up by Ray Phoenix. And that's where Ray did hit Kenny Omega with the impressive Kenny and a Destroyer. Like, wow. Very impressive. And then, of course, Kenny Omega did the V-Trigger, but Laredo Kid did counter with the Michinoku Driver. But, of course, for the 2 count. And, of course, at the end, Kenny Omega did deliver the V-Trigger. And then the One-Wing Angel. And thus, Kenny Omega did pick up the victory. Afterwards, out come Jon Moxley and the Young Bucks. As they enter the ring, they're about to have a beatdown. But Anderson, Gallows, Omega, and Don Callis did exit. You guys, so... Yeah, you guys, this is like a developing of a storyline between, like, you know, the Young Bucks and Omega and the Good Brothers alike, too. And especially the fact that, like, I know that Kenny Omega has a lot in his plate. There's no mention about, like, you know, the double championship situation. But I have a feeling that it is going to be a developing storyline going on, like, between the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers, you know. Especially with that tag team title alike. So a lot of development going on for that all together, but yeah. So far, that's enough of the AEW Dynamite bonus on regarding with like the cross promotion and my rant about the freaking faction, how it's so freaking congested. Boy. Anyway, lastly, I'm going to give you guys my quick prediction for Impact plus the special for Hardcore Justice. Only 2 matches has been confirmed. So, as I mentioned you have is the 6-way Knockouts Weapons match. The winner gets to be the number 1 contender for the Impact Knockouts Championship match against Deonna Purrazzo or Jazz at Rebellion. You have is Jordan Grace, Rosemary, Havoc, Tenille Dashwood, Alicia Edwards, and Susan. I'm going to go with my pick, and I'm going to go with a bull pick. Because we saw her true color, and I feel that we're probably going to be seeing more of a trigger, I'm going to go with Susan to be the number 1 contendership. I mean, without due respect with Jordan Grace, but she already had too many title shots for the Knockouts title. I feel like she need to move on to just be more for, like, being a tag team specialist. Hopefully, like, her and ODB. Regarding with Havoc, I feel that she need to continue on with the feud with Nevaeh after what happened with the whole, like, heel turn situation. Tenille Dashwood, she could freaking, like, continue living her best life. Rosemary continue managing the Decay. And Alicia Edwards just, you know, being with Swinger, at the Swingers Palace, you know. So, yeah, my pick is Susan. And then for the Impact Knockouts Championship versus Career match, Deonna Purrazzo versus Jazz, I feel this match is going to be main eventing because it's going to be something that's going to be impactful when it comes to Jazz's career. And for my pick, I'm going to go with Deonna Purrazzo to retain the title. That way, it will be a good way to have Jazz being done with Impact Wrestling so she can continue on with her retirement tour and maybe an appearance from either AEW or Ring of Honor or possibly NWA. So, yeah. Anyway, you guys, that is it for the episode of Into the Stratusphere, you guys. So, again, there's not going to be no new episode of Into the Stratusphere next week. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Expect a lot of results and recap, you guys, from yours truly. But if you guys wanted to keep it up in the loop, I will make sure to do my final prediction for Hardcore Justice either on Instagram or maybe on TikTok, you guys. So make sure to follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at simply_C_OK. That's SIMPLY_C_OK. And on TikTok, because I'm mostly on TikTok a lot. It's such an addiction. Plus, I'm having fun recording, mostly wrestling related stuff too, especially the theme song countdown. Because I get more followers or something. But anyway, follow me on TikTok at simply_C_OK. The OK is OKAY as well. Make sure to follow my podcast, The Adventures in Wrestling Podcast, available on all podcasting platforms. The social media and all that stuff. Make sure to follow at the Bulletcast on all podcasting platforms. And make sure to follow the Bulletcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube at Bulletcast, you guys, because Philip and Brendan will be covering a lot about WWE stuff, especially for this busy week in wrestling, you guys. So, yeah, y'all. And if you want to DM me, about the topic we talk about, you guys know my Twitter. Well, DM me on Twitter or on Instagram. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, with that being said, remember to wash your hands 20 to 30 seconds. Practice social distancing. Wear your face mask or face covering. No excuses. Get vaccinated, you guys. And remember to please be kind to one another. We're all in this together. Until then, you guys, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks of a new episode of Into the Stratusphere. This is Cindy G, and hope you guys have an amazing wrestling week. Cheers, y'all.
This has been the Bulletcast. Thank you for listening.